Hey YouTubes, how's it going? It's a beautiful day in Indiana, and so I thought maybe I'd wear my modular helmet and make a YouTube video, which I haven't done for a while. As you can see, I'm on this gorgeous 2005 Dyna Y-Glide. I haven't really shown you guys this or rode with it, so I figured I'd get out and show you what I've done to it, some upgrades that I've done, some little modifications that I've done, let you hear what it sounds like. Oh, it's such a gorgeous day, man. It's about 83 to 85 degrees right now, sunny, a little windy though, so if my wind in my mic is too bad, sorry about that, nothing I can do about that. Sometimes I love just getting out in the country and doing 30 to 40 miles an hour, just hitting these back roads, smelling all the smells, looking at all the stuff. I haven't really been doing a whole lot lately since my last videos. Been doing a lot of work. That's been keeping me busy in the home life. I've been riding some, but nothing very far. The closest major city where Harley Davidson is about 40 minutes from me. I've been riding up there every now and then, but nothing extreme. It's pretty dark to the north of me, so today I thought I'd go south. I don't go this way a whole lot anymore, so I figured it'd be something a little different. I've been really enjoying this bike a lot. I think I'm almost done with it to where I want it to be. I want some different handlebars. These are the stock handlebars. I measured them and I think they're between 8 and 10 inches. I think they're closer to 8 because they bend downward at an angle. They're a little short, so my arms are like this on them. But other than that, here we'll find a good spot and I'll pull over and show you some of the things that I've done with it. It's been a really good bike so far, not caused me any major issues. This seems like a good spot up here where the stop sign is. I don't think this road gets too much traffic. Get neutral. Yeah, this is a good spot. So here she is. This is the 2005 Dyna Y-Glide. It's a limited edition paint. I think they only ran it for 1 year. This is number, I don't remember off the top of my head. This is number 39 of 200. So there were 200 of these Dyna Y-Glides issued with this paint. This is number 200. When I got it, it had a Thunderheader exhaust, but this model of Y-Glide or Dyna was when Harley was transitioning into the fuel injection and O2 sensors. So they did not have O2 sensors stock on this bike. So I really wanted to tune it. I could tell the tune was not correct. Somebody put a cam in it and it was way off. So in order for me to tune it, I bought a new Thunderheader, which I like the Thunderheader on this particular model. And then I bought a Dynojet. These are the wideband 18 millimeter sensors. And then their target tune system for this model. And I'm able to tune it now. So I've got a decent tune on it. It didn't come with a sissy bar when I got it. Well, it did, but it was like super short. It looked really goofy. So I bought this style of sissy bar. I think it complements the bike and the way it moves. I put on this Memphis Shades windscreen. This is the Del Rio, I think. It suits me really well. I don't always wear a full face and I wear glasses, so if I don't have a windscreen, my glasses go up and down a whole bunch no matter what bike I'm riding, if I don't have one, and I can't see because I wear bifocals. So and it makes it hard for me to get contacts because of that. So I always usually wear a windscreen, but it's not too tall, and I think once I get some 12 or 14-inch bars, it's going to complement that pretty well. Other than that, cosmetically, I've not done a whole lot more to that. I have had to do some modifications to the motor and everything, but we'll go ahead and get on the bike, and I'll tell you more about what I've had to do with the motor. Isn't she beautiful, though? I love those wheels. A lot of this I cannot take credit for. I bought it like this. The wheels were already there. The front and back match, and the belt pulley also matches the wheels. Someone else, before I bought the bike, put on these Billet turn signals on the front and back. Someone put on this RPM gauge and oil temperature gauge, some kind of thing that Harley made. They put on the pegs and the grips, back pegs match, whatever collection that's from. And they put on this air filter. I forget the brand of them, Air Force or something like that, or Forced Air, I don't remember, but I like it because it has hard lines to it. Other than that, I think, and they put on a whole bunch of chrome accessories. This piece here that kind of is as an accent to the chrome accessories, they put on that. There's a whole bunch of stuff they've done. One thing that I did add, which you won't be able to see while I'm riding, is I like push button starts down here on these older bikes. So on the starter, I put one of these push buttons. I'll go ahead and demonstrate real quick. So we'll get everything, turn the ignition back on. So I can start it up on the handlebar, or I can just push this. I just like that. I think one day I might get rid of these and kind of clean things up, but for now I'm gonna leave it alone. And whoever else purchased this bike before I did, put on these chrome caps on the controls. And so there's a lot of work done to this bike already, but I just kind of took it to a different level with the sissy bar and the windscreen and the pipes and being able to tune it with my power vision. So when I got the bike and I put on the 18mm plug or O2 sensors, as soon as I turned it on and started riding, these AFR numbers, and I hope you can see this okay, they were in the 17s when I'm riding. Oops. They were in the 17s as I was riding, and that, I don't remember if that's too lean or too rich, but it's not right. Stock, it should be in the 14s. So, like I said, it was way out of tune. But now these are 18mm or O2 sensors, so it rides in the 13s as I'm riding it. I've got everything dialed in pretty good, and it pulls pretty good. I believe this is an 88-inch motor. Let me close my visor so we don't get a bunch of air coming in. I believe this is an 88-inch. The technician that wrote it before they put it up for sale at my local Harley Davidson dealership, he wrote it and thought maybe it was bumped up to a 98 because it pulls really well. And it looks like the head gasket had been changed. It looks like it's a Cosmetic gasket because it has those little ringlets on each side of the heads. So it's definitely had the heads taken off at some point, but I don't know why. One of the first things that I did is when I got it, because I wanted to see what I had to work with. And as you know, or if you follow my videos, I'm kind of a gearhead with Harley Davidsons. I don't mind getting into the motors. It doesn't bother me, and I have a general idea of what I'm doing it correctly. So the first thing I did was I took the cam cover off. I wanted to see what kind of cam was in there and what kind of tensioners they were. Because in this style, or this year bike, they were still using those spring-loaded cam tensioners, which are prone to fail. I know some people have run them successfully, but there's a whole lot of people that haven't, and it can grenade your motor. So I really wanted to address that right off the bat, so I never have to worry about it again. And as soon as I took the cam cover off, I saw they were the spring-loaded tensioners and the stock cam plate. So I'm like, okay. So if they did have the heads off and maybe change the cylinders and put a big bore on it, they didn't do a whole lot with the cams. So I took the cams out, and they were an Andrews 37B cam, which is an okay cam. I believe it's a 510 lift. It's more of a mid to upper RPM range. More of a, I guess in today's world you call it a power cam, but they wouldn't call it that in this year motor. But it's motored for 3,000 RPM and up. And I like the way it sounds and the way it pulls, because with this bike I stay in around the 3,000 RPMs, especially when I'm on the highway. So I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead and get one of those. So one great thing you can do with these bikes that do have the spring-loaded tensioners is buy a hydraulic kit and get what's called a conversion cam. Because in 2006, they changed the cam where it meets into the case from a really small diameter to a larger one. So you can't just put a 2006 and later cam in this bike with a new oil plate and oil pump. You have to get what's called a conversion cam, where it still has the part that goes into the case really small, but it's bigger where it meets the cam plate to match up with those newer cam plates. So Andrews, and I hope you guys understood that. It's hard for me to explain this kind of stuff because I'm not a technician. I just understand what it looks like. So I got a hold of Andrews, and they had a conversion cam called a 37N. I guess N is their conversion line. So I bought one of those, and then I got a hold of Fuel Moto and bought a conversion cam plate and oil pump, and then put that in with the hydraulic lifters, or the hydraulic tensioners. So the spring tensioners are out of this bike, they're on hydraulic, they're not known to grenade and wear down real fast, so I don't have to worry about it. But I also found when I was in there that whoever put the cam in didn't change those crappy INA bearings. So it had the bearings with those little separators that I've talked about before that are just a failure waiting to happen. So I changed those out with a Torrington bearing like it should be. So the cam chest is, 100% solid. I would never call anything bulletproof, but for this year of bike, it's good. When I bought the new cam plate and oil pump from Fuel Moto, it came with new chains and everything, new bolts, so it's 100% brand new inside there. But I also found that when I had the cams out, they used the stock push rods. So most people, and not all, but most people, when they do a big bore, they will go to adjustables because it saves their life a whole lot of time later. So if there is a 98 in here, they had used the stock push rods, which is a little abnormal. So that kind of leads me to maybe they didn't, I don't know. But when I changed my thunder header and I had that thunder header off, they didn't do anything to the heads. So the heads are not ported. It looks like it has the stock springs in them still, from what I could see, because one of them was depressed. I could see up in there a little bit. So I don't know. I think maybe that there was an issue at some point, and they had to take the heads off for some reason and put on the upgraded gasket. But I don't think this is a 98 kit, mainly because they would have tuned it, and the tuning was way off. And whoever did that probably would have done the cam chest, but they didn't change the bearing or the tensioners. So I'm thinking, and the way that it pulls, I think it's just a strong cam with this 2-in-1 pipe. I think it's got the stock 88 heads and cylinders. So I think this winter I'm going to pull off the heads, get a new gasket, and then measure the diameter with my calipers of the cylinder and find out, the cylinder bore, and find out if this is an 88 or like a 95 or 98 inch. If it's only an 88, I'm going to go ahead and get a Fuel Moto get a hold of them and order one of their 98 big bore kits with 10.5 to 1 compression on it. So like that would, if this is an 88, it pulls really well. And if that's the case and I end up getting that kit, this is going to be a little screamer. Something else that I did, I noticed this spring, because I bought this bike in the wintertime, so I couldn't really ride it for a while, which let me get it on my lift and figure out what's in. Oh, that's a beautiful horse. Oh my gosh. I have never seen that one before. Oh, you're gorgeous. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I had it on my lift during winter, and that's when I did the cam plate and stuff, or the cams and the bearings. But as I was riding it this spring, I noticed that the next day after I parked in my garage, I had a couple of drips of oil on the floor. So I knew that there was a leak somewhere. So I traced it back, and it was the gaskets behind the inner primary. I think the shifter shaft was leaking. So here's a couple of pictures of what went on with that. So I had the whole primary part. I changed all of the O-rings and stuff behind the inner primary, the shifter shaft, the quad seal, and all the stuff, everything. The 5-speed transmission gasket thing. I don't know what they're called off the top of my head. Like I said, I'm not a technician. I just know how to work on them. So I changed all those. It's no longer leaking. It's dry as a bone back behind the inner primary, even if I'm riding for hours at a time. And the stator looked okay. I didn't see anything wrong with that. It would look like it was in good shape. It wasn't burnt looking or anything. It looked like it was fairly new, actually. The clutch pack looked good. I didn't see any wear on the clutch. But one thing that I do to all of my bikes, all three of them in the garage, even Dad's, the clutch lever, I don't like how hard they are to depress from the factory. So I get these burly, easy clutches. And I went ahead and installed that on the clutch side. And then in the primary side, I also installed, I got a hold of Fuel Moto once again, because that's where I buy all of my parts. They do an excellent job and talk to me when I need help. I went ahead and installed an AIM variable clutch. So what that does is, as I add more torque and horsepower to this bike, the AIM variable clutch has these weights, and as they spin out and it gets progressively faster as you're riding, because it says it rides against the clutch, it pushes pressure on the pressure plate. So even with the stock pressure plate, the stock clutch will be able to support up to 150 foot-pounds of torque and 150 horsepower. Something like that, or 140, but it's more than this bike will ever make. Even if I do get to a 98-inch, they just don't go that high. So I can still use the stock clutch plate, have an awesome feel. I mean, it's like butter. I can put it in with one finger. You know, you just can't do that with the stock ones. So with that easy pull and that clutch plate, you know, I'm set for life. And as I'm riding through traffic or whatever, I don't have to worry about my hands getting fatigued or whatever. So I got all that buttoned up. I did a 3-hole oil change just for good measure. And yeah, here we are. So as you can see, I'm riding long, and we're staying around 13 AFR for the front burst cylinders, which is perfect for not only gas mileage, but power at the same time. Without the 18mm sensors, I wouldn't be able to do that. So one more thing that happened, the voltage regulator blew on me. It wasn't holding it, or wasn't charging my battery, and when I pulled the plug apart for the voltage regulator that goes into the stator, it was like black, and half the plug was melted. So that voltage regulator was trashed. So I bought a really nice one. I don't recall the name. Maybe I'll post it up in here somewhere, the brand that I got. But it's a really good brand. It's not like Drag Specialties or anything. It's It's a really nice one. So it has a brand new voltage regulator, and it's going to last me for the remainder of this life of bike, I hope. It's you know, I don't really know. Oh, this is 231. Okay. Or we'll wait for traffic to get by, and I'll show you how it pulls going through the gears. So that was only 4th gear. So it's for, I think it's a stock 88. A 98, I would have gotten up there and been pushed back a little harder, I think. So, I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to see. But I think this is an 88 inch. But like I said, normally I'm on the highway, and I hope the wind's not too terrible. I stay around 3,000 RPM. And again, I've got a really good tune. We're sitting about 13.5 AFR for the front rear cylinders. The manifold pressure is about 35, which is good for where I'm sitting at 4th gear. If I drop down in RPM, it still stays in the 13.5 RPM or AFR range, and I'm in the lower 40s for the manifold pressure at 60 miles an hour at 5th gear. So it's got, the tune's doing really well. I'm very happy with it. I'm just kind of keeping this on here just because it already has all these gauges, and I like to watch the things on my DynoJet Power Vision. Let me get off this road. I know the wind's beating you guys up. I'm not going to stay on this road. As you can see though, it's got, or as you might have heard, it's got an awesome sound to it. I've never had a thunderheader before. And it's got a lower kind of growl to it, which is not what I'm used to. Excuse me. I'm used to these 2-in-2 pipes that have like big city thunder baffles, and you know, they're loud, and most people would find them obnoxious. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch one of my videos recently with my 110 kit that I installed. It's a stage 4 on my my Softail breakout, and it's just loud as hell. But it still pulls really good because of the way I've tuned it and stuff. But anyway, that's a whole different video. But this bike is different. You know, it's not very loud, and I can get in the country and just kind of coast along, and it's not annoying me or anybody else that I'm with, or the farmers or the cows and stuff or whatever. So I think I'm going to stay with the thunderheader for a little while. Like I said, I've got a good tune on it and everything, so I'm just going to ride it and enjoy it. But essentially, this is what I've got. This is the 2005 limited paint Dyna Wide Glide FXDWGI for fuel injected, because in 2005 they also made a carbureted model. They were still transitioning, like I said. So yeah, get some new handlebars. I'd rather my hands be level with my arms, which is about right here. So I'm thinking, depending how big these are, a 12 or a 14 inch, and I'm just going to enjoy the bike until winter, and then we'll see what's inside the motor and maybe beef it up a little bit. It's a weird looking barn. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hearing what I've done with this bike since I've received it, and what it looks like, and some of the modifications that were done either by me or from the previous owner. So as always, you guys have a great day and be safe, do what you do, so I have something to watch on YouTube while I'm sitting in my living room. Deuces.